Hey everybody, this is David at Carolina Luthier, and we're here doing our second video on the 1925 Vega Style M Tubaphone Conversion, which is actually not this banjo, but I thought I would start things off showing a little picking on a tenor banjo so you can kind of see where that Vega come from. That Vega was originally a tenor banjo, just like this. As you can see, tenor banjo only has 4 strings, and it's traditionally played with a pick rather than with your fingers. And these are very popular in the early 20th century, where they were used as a rhythm instrument for jazz. A lot of early forms of jazz we use this instead of a guitar. And they're still quite often used in traditional Irish music, where it's used as a lead instrument, playing melodies as I was doing there. And but these are not that popular today, especially here in America. So a lot of people will take these old tenors and put 5-string necks on them. Get some use out of these old things, and an old tenor, a vintage tenor, is a lot easier to get a hold of and a lot cheaper than original pre-war 5-string. So we can see here is the neck that we took off of that banjo. That banjo was converted but not done very well. So this neck is kind of crude and doesn't fit very well, and the customer would like a neck that fits more his playing style and his taste. So we're making a whole new neck for this banjo, just as was done at some point by whoever made this neck. You can see the difference here between the tenor and the 5. Tenors are a whole lot shorter and only have 4 strings. So what we're going to be doing today on that project is we're going to begin constructing our neck. So what we have over here behind me is a nice big piece of Honduran mahogany purchased from the hardwood store of North Carolina, which is not far from my shop. This is what we're going to be making our neck out of. Now the original neck would have been maple, as was this poorly made conversion neck, but the customer specifically requested mahogany for the sake of its warmer tone. Most of the tone will come from the rim, but the neck does affect it, so we're going to be using mahogany because that's what he wanted. And as you can see with this neck and the original one, which we do not have, this is actually a 3-piece neck. We have a thin little piece of ebony down the middle here, this little black stripe. So we're going to be doing that here as well. And we have a nice piece of ebony right here, which we'll plane down a little bit thinner. And we're going to sandwich that between 2 pieces of this mahogany. It's a cosmetic detail you see on a lot of early banjos, and it actually started in the 1800s, where they believe this would actually make the neck a little bit stronger as well. You have grain running in slightly different directions with the 2 halves, with the ebony down the middle. Thought this would add a little rigidity to the neck, especially when banjos did not have truss rods back then. So even though we will have a truss rod, we won't do that because that was the way Vegas were originally done, and it's a nice cosmetic touch. So we got to split this piece of mahogany and plane down this piece of ebony, and we'll sandwich the 3 pieces together, make us a nice billet, which we can cut into a banjo neck shape on a bandsaw. So we'll go and get started on that. Okay, now right here in the shop, you can see I've drawn a template of what our neck is going to look like onto this piece of wood. I'm trying to keep this quarter saw, keep it where the grain is running up and down. This piece is a little bit of a twist, and it gets to where it's more flat sawn on this end. This is where our neck's going to be. So the first thing we're going to do is cut this end off on the table saw. Alright, now this has been cut down to a somewhat more manageable size. We'll do the rest of this on the bandsaw. Cut out a rough banjo shape, then we will split it and have our 2 halves. Now at this point, unfortunately, I was not able to get this on camera as the vibration from the bandsaw had knocked my camera over. As you can see, we got a rough banjo neck shape cut out and a center line drawn in here. What we're going to do is we're going to split it down this line with a bandsaw. And we'll flip it around so the outsides will be facing in, and our grain is running in slightly different directions. It'll give us that nice visual effect where it hits the light, and the theory is it makes the neck more rigid, which we will have a truss rod, so it's not really necessary, but we're going to do it anyways. Alright, now we split this neck in two. We're going to run both of these through the planer a few times, get them trued up, and then we'll have to plane out our piece of ebony, which will go in between them. Okay, as you can see here, we've got everything cut out, ready to go. And I'm ready to glue it all back together. We have our two pieces here. We have our center strip. And we also have two little ears. These little pieces will glue right up here on the headstock. And will allow me to have enough wood to have a decent shaped headstock. Because banjo necks or any acoustic instrument necks are typically quarter sawn. A piece of wood that thick is hard to get and kind of expensive. And also just a lot of wasted wood. So always, just about any banjo you look, you'll see pieces of wood glued right here. So we'll go ahead and get this glued together. We're using tight bond. Since this is a joint that we'll never take apart, this is not something that should never need to be repaired. So we're not going to use high glue or anything like that. We're using tight bond, good strong hold. It should last. As you can see here, we got everything clamped up and ready to go. And we have to let this sit for a little while, make sure this glue dries. So I believe that'd be it for this video. The next one we'll be installing a truss rod, and we'll glue our fretboard and our heel cap and overlay and all that stuff. So make sure you subscribe so you don't miss that. I'll see you next time.